The USA all the way as 5 American boxers captured gold medals at the Montreal Olympic Games. First, Leo Randolph, an 18-year-old high school student from Tacoma, Washington, scored a tremendous upset of the flyweight division. He beat the heavily favored Cuban Ramon Duvalon to become Olympic champion. Following the games, Leo turned professional, and 4 years later, he scored another remarkable upset as he won in a TKO in the 15th round over then champion Ricardo Cardona to become the WBA World Junior Featherweight champion. The most charismatic boxer to emerge from the Montreal Games was Sugar Ray Leonard as he dominated the Cuban Andres Aldama with superior speed and power to win the gold medal in the light welterweight division. Many boxing cynics considered Leonard an amateur who could get his comeuppance in the pros, but beginning with his victory over Wilfred Benitez, Sugar Ray eventually silenced them all and earning a place as one of the outstanding fighters of our time. 20-year-old Michael Spinks of St. Louis had been beaten by Rufat Riskiev 6 months before the Montreal Olympics, but Spinks dropped the Russian with a tremendous overhand right, and the referee stopped the contest moments later, making Michael the gold medalist in the middleweight division. Michael Spinks was the last of the American gold medalists from Montreal to fight for a professional world title. But that same devastating right hand proved decisive in his victory over Eddie Mustafa Muhammad for the WBA light heavyweight championship. Michael is the only one of the 5 still holding a world title. His brother Leon faced a legendary puncher named Sixto Saria in the light heavyweight final, but again the Spinks jinx. That powerful overhand right proved decisive as Leon won his gold in perhaps the most exciting match of the evening. Only a year and a half later, Leon battered a sadly out-of-shape Muhammad Ali to win the World Heavyweight Championship. His reign was the shortest in the history of the heavyweight division, but his big night against Ali will be remembered as one of the shocking upsets in boxing history. The 5th American to win a gold medal in Montreal that night almost 8 years ago was Howard Davis, whose speed of hand and foot won him the lightweight gold and also the honor of designation as the outstanding boxer of the games. It was a fitting climax to perhaps the greatest career in American amateur boxing history. But since Montreal, Howard Davis has had a frustrating career as a pro. He lost his first try for a world championship, and he remains the only American gold medalist from Montreal without a professional world title. Today, he gets another chance against Edwin Rosario, the WBC World Lightweight Champion. A tough 21-year-old from Puerto Rico looking to establish himself as one of the top fighters in the world today. Rosario is regarded as the heaviest puncher in the division. And so today, live from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Howard Davis tries to add a professional world title to his Olympic gold medal as he challenges WBC lightweight champion Edwin Rosario on ABC's Wide World of Sports. San Juan, Puerto Rico, the Roberto Clemente Coliseum, where in just a few minutes the WBC World Lightweight Boxing title goes on the line. Hello again, everybody. I'm Don Chevrier, and today it is Edwin Rosario. He's the champion, making his second title defense right here before a very noisy, supportive partisan crowd against Howard Davis of the United States. Howard Davis, of course, a former Olympic gold medal winner. But Rosario has been awesome in his very brief boxing career. As a professional, his record is not totally verifiable. What we do know for sure is he has 19 wins, and 17 of those have been knockouts. He's become a big favorite, a young man who's gone a long way considering he just recently turned 21 years of age. Now, the man he'll be fighting, Howard Davis, is a different story. He's 28 years of age. He has just one loss, that a previous bid for a world championship in Scotland. And now, for the second time, he goes out of the champion's home turf, this time in Puerto Rico, in search of the elusive world title that he missed the first time. Davis, now 28 years of age, may not face the end of the road should he lose today, but he may well be able to see the end of that road from here in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Howard Davis, quite a story, going back to the Olympics in Montreal. Let's look at him now, up close and personal. Howard Davis was an unknown 17-year-old in 1974, but when he upset the Soviet Olympic champion Boris Kuznetsov to become the only American winner of that year's World Championships, he established himself as one of the outstanding amateur boxers in the world. His hand speed and ring movement were ideally suited to the amateur version of the sport. The climax of his amateur career came in Montreal in 1976 as part of the remarkable American team that dominated the boxing competition. Davis won the gold medal in the lightweight division, but it was a dream come true that had been saddened by a nightmare. The day before the opening ceremonies, his mother died of a stroke, and he considered going home.
I remember speaking to my mother just before going to the Olympics, and her last word to me was to bring home the gold. So when I thought about that, I said, I got to stay here. I got to do it for her. It's no more for me and my country. It's for her now.
Following his Olympic victory, Davis was named the outstanding boxer at the 1976 Games, his highest honor in a career that may have been the greatest in the history of American amateur boxing. 6 months later, Howard Davis made his pro debut with a 6-round decision over journeyman Jose Resto. But for a long time, he found professional boxing a very difficult adjustment, both in the ring and out of it. And he went through some very difficult times.
I was basically a very shy introvert. When I turned pro, I sort of got lost in a shuffle in the beginning because now I seemed like I was owned by people. I wasn't in control of my being, so to speak.
Davis got his first title shot in 1980 against Jim Watt, but he never really was in that fight and lost to unanimous decision. Following that disappointment, his career seemed to wander aimlessly as Davis underwent managerial and personal problems, mainly his mixed feelings about how much he really wanted to pursue a professional boxing career.
I thought about quitting about 2 or 3 years ago when after I lost the title shot to Jim Watt. I was like totally disenchanted with boxing. I didn't want anything to do with it. When reporters came around, I didn't want to speak to them. I wouldn't answer the phone. I was just depressed with it. How can boxing do this to me? That's what I was thinking at the time. But actually, it was just me.
Since his loss to Watt, the only one of his professional career, Davis has run off a string of 13 wins to move back into title contention. He says he has matured since his early days as a pro, and he also says that he is ready now to win the world title he has worked toward for 8 years. Howard lives with his family in Dix Hills, a New York City suburb on Long Island. And part of his change in attitude stems from his responsibilities as husband and father, his motivation based not only on a desire to prove himself, but also to ensure the future of his family.
I've learned that you have to be sort of callous to a lot of things. It's a dog-eat-dog business. And I say to myself, this is such a brutal sport. Why am I in something like this, The other side of me says, you're a champ. The champ doesn't give up.
And there he is, the number 2 contender, Howard Davis, in his locker room, a man with 26 wins, just the 1 loss, died on a title bout, but a young man who does not have a devastating knockout punch. This man does. He's the champion, Edwin Rosario. As we told you, he has 17 knockouts out of his 19 official victories. We'll look at Rosario, but first, let's pause for just a moment here in San Juan. Stay with us. The champion of the WBC lightweight division, Edwin Rosario, in his locker room here at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum, his native Puerto Rico in San Juan, getting set to defend for the 2nd time a championship that he won and impressed a lot of people with. Although he's been very inactive, we'll find out why in just a moment. An injury caused that as we look now at the career of Edwin Rosario. The fight that made the boxing world sit up and take notice of Edwin Rosario took place 2 years ago when he destroyed veteran Edwin Viruet, an opponent who had never been knocked down in his career, including 25 rounds against Roberto Duran. But Viruet was no match for Rosario's power, and he was stopped in 3 rounds. Rosario's future looked great at that point, but in sparring 2 months later, he broke his wrist and was out 11 months. When Alexis Arguello vacated the WBC lightweight title, Rosario was nominated to meet tough Mexican southpaw Jose Luis Ramirez for the crown. Rosario dominated the early rounds, but had to survive a Ramirez rally to win the WBC World Championship. His unimpressive performance diminished his stature in the eyes of many boxing fans, but they did not know that Edwin had refractured his right wrist early in that fight and had to box in excruciating pain without power in his main weapon being the right hand. He says the doubts of others simply made him work harder to prove them wrong.
It gave me motivation because when I saw that all these people were talking and the people turning their backs on me, it motivated me to go back to training, even though my wrist was still mending. And this is how I improved.
His manager, Jimmy Jacobs, said the Ramirez fight proved that Rosario had the will of a winner.
He was always, in my mind, technically, a great fighter. But in the Ramirez fight, when he broke his wrist and finished the fight, fought for a half hour with a wrist that was broken, which we put in a cast for a half a year, that proved to me that he had a gigantic heart.
His arm was in a cast for 6 months, and he didn't make his first title defense until this March, when he convinced Roberto Elizondo that there was nothing wrong with his right hand as he scored a devastating first-round knockout. Recently, he returned to the gym near his home to prepare for his second title defense against Davis. The training regimen and the separation from his family in the 2 months before each fight is a difficult adjustment for Edwin.
At the beginning of training, and I think that this happens to all boxers, that at first when they start training, they find it boring because they come back from resting, relaxing, going back to parties and trips, and so when they come back, it is like being in jail, but after 3 or 4 weeks, you get used to it.
On Father's Day last Sunday, Edwin was allowed a special visit with his wife and baby daughter. But such moments of relaxation have been few and far between as Edwin prepares for what he hopes will be the fight that establishes him as one of the top fighters in any division. He feels slighted by the fact that he's lacked recognition. It's gone to the likes of Boom Boom Mancini and Hector Camacho. He's determined to prove that Edwin Rosario is the #1 lightweight in the world. And today, a confident champion Edwin Rosario says he is in the best condition possible and says he's ready to knock Howard Davis out in less than 6 rounds. Well, that remains to be seen. The fight coming up very shortly here in San Juan, and I want you to stay with us for it. Also coming up next, a report on the Olympic track and field trials underway at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And we'll have that for you. Wide World of Sports continues. Don Chevrier back with you in San Juan, where the Puerto Rican flag is very much in evidence in the ring, along with a great amount of Puerto Rican pride and support for native son Edwin Rosario, his second title defense, just a couple of minutes away against Howard Davis. And there is Rosario, triumphantly coming into the ring with his partisan crowd cheering him all the way. And fans not only here, but I think across the United States will soon become fans, if they haven't already, of Rosario. Edwin Rosario with the 27-0 on his record and 25 knockouts. That is not entirely verifiable because in the early days of his career, he fought 8 bouts in the surrounding Caribbean islands. And so the official record has to be 8 less than that. 19-0, stopping 17 opponents. But there's no doubt about one thing. He's the reigning WBC champion. And there is his wife and 8-month-old baby daughter. We showed you earlier he got to spend 1 day away from training for Father's Day last Sunday with his young family. Howard Davis, as you know, a family man also, the #2 WBC contender. His record, 26-1. He has knocked out 11, but Howard Davis, in the comeback attempt he has made to get this second title shot, has been on a tear. He has won his last 13 bouts in a row. And so there's support for both these fighters, but make no mistake, the man getting most of the support is Edwin Rosario, although from Long Island comes some fans backing their man, Howard Davis Jr. Both fighters have their fathers in their corner today. Antonio Rosario, the father of the champion, and Howard Davis Sr., the father of the challenger. There he is. Howard Davis Jr. will work in his son's corner. The referee is Mike Jacobs of London, England, and 3 ringside judges will decide it if it goes the 12-round WBC limit. They are Jose Juan Guerrero of Mexico, Angel Custodio Tovar of Venezuela, and Sidney Nathan of England. The ring here, a little over 20 by 20, about 20 feet 6 inches square, as this ring here in Puerto Rico has seen some electrifying fights, and many of them have been supplied by this man, Rosario. He was out of action 14 months. He broke his right wrist against Jose Luis Ramirez, the man he won the title from. He started slowly in that bout, finally accelerated, and won the final few rounds to nail down the decision, which had been in doubt a little earlier on. Another look there at the wife of Rosario, and now Howard Davis's wife, the lady on the left. Getting back to Rosario, his first title defense, and that was the big test for the broken wrist in his right hand, was a knockout of Roberto Elizondo, 157 of round one. And here's the comparison of the two boxers now, and the comparison favors in height and in reach Howard Davis. He is 3 inches taller and will have a reach advantage of 6 inches over Rosario. But that shouldn't really bother Rosario, who's a solid kind of puncher. Contrasting styles here. Rosario, not the slowest man you'll ever see afoot, but Howard Davis' trademark is good speed, both hand speed and foot speed, and he'll be utilizing that. The one drawback is that quite often Howard Davis will deliver punches while not firmly planted on both feet. Rosario does that. That's the difference in power. When Howard Davis gets up at his toes, he can score, but not with the devastating power of his opponent today, the champion from Puerto Rico. Here are the rules of Mike Jacobs.
What I want to do is ask you two things, and that's firstly, to observe those rules, and secondly, make it a good, clean, all-action contest. Is that understood? Shake hands, and come out fighting.
Mike Jacobs' final words to the two boxers. It's a 10-point must system here. The bell will not save a man except the final round. The 3 knockdown rule is waived. Mandatory 8 count on knockdowns. There'll be no standing 8 count. And that's just about it, except in the case of an accidental bump. We'll cover that as we go along. As the first round is underway, I'm anxious to see how Rosario starts. He started very slowly when he won the championship, as we told you, against Ramirez. And here, looks like he's ready to engage Howard Davis right away. It looks like more than a 3-inch advantage in height, but that's what it's listed. Davis at 5'9" over Rosario. Rosario with the jab, the following right, glancing off the body of Davis. Very quick hands in the part of Rosario. The only hand speed in this ring doesn't belong to Howard Davis. Feigning with the jab and flicking one up to the face of Davis a moment ago. Rosario forcing Davis to back up in the early seconds. This first round just barely a minute old. But Rosario is the champion with all that pride we talked about. Davis, the challenger, has a big opportunity. His second world title challenge today. The first losing to tough Scot right in Glasgow 4 years ago, Jim Watt. Now onto the home turf of Rosario here in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Sparse first round action. Rosario expected he would take Davis out inside of 6 rounds. Davis backers say that Davis could take Rosario out and certainly can outpoint him if it does go to 12 rounds. Left hook thrown by Rosario. A little over a minute left in this, the first round. WBC rules scheduled for 12. A smile to the face of Rosario as he flicked the jab and missed it for the second time. 3 inches shorter. He's shooting those punches upstairs toward the head of Howard Davis when he does throw them. Davis, a quick jab, couldn't get the following right through. Cuffs it with the right hand. The crowd groans here with less than a minute to go in the first round. Davis casually turning his back on the champion. Rosario just 21. When Howard Davis was 21, he had just turned pro after winning his gold medal at the Olympics in Montreal in 1976. Less than 20 seconds to go in the first round. There's that quick jab flicked up by the champion again. Looping left, partially landed by Howard Davis. Now, going to work is the champion Rosario as the seconds are winding down here. Just 3 seconds left in round number 1, scheduled for 12. Round 2 underway here in San Juan. The first round fairly even. The distinguishing feature of that round was the late flurry by Rosario in the final 20 or 25 seconds as he pinned Davis over on the ropes. And Davis had some redness over his left eye. They were looking at in the corner, but obviously nothing very serious at this early stage. As Rosario moved in, Davis cuffed him 3 times with the left hand. Davis tending to hold his ground a little better now in the center of the ring, not backing up quite as much as he was in the first round. Both men showing a fairly healthy respect for one another. A lot at stake. Chance for Rosario to firmly establish himself as one of the big lightweights in the world. He feels that people like Camacho and Mancini have taken their luster away from him, and of course being out 14 months with a broken wrist had a lot to do with that. Now on national television today, fighting in San Juan, he's got a chance to prove something. Howard Davis has got the opportunity for the second time in his pro career to lay claim to a world title. As you heard earlier, he's the only one of the 5 from Montreal winning gold who has not been a world champion at one time or another in their professional career. Approaching the midway mark of the second round. Again, a lot of movement. Very little in the way of punches being thrown. Rosario having to contend with the quickness of Davis. Catches him there with a right hand. Backs him against the rope. That's the most telling blow so far. Davis on the run, holding on now as Rosario chased him halfway across the ring to rain 3 or 4 good scoring blows. Davis responding with a right hook. Blinking his eyes now, bouncing up and down. And he goes. Howard Davis, cut one, and is down here in the second round. Less than a minute to go. Davis will take the 8 count from the referee, Mike Jacobs. And he'll send him back into action. Rosario looking to move in and finish Davis off here in the second round. As you saw, he got him in trouble across the other side of the ring. Then finally connected with a solid blow that dropped Davis. Now Davis trying to buy some time, staying away from him. Still has half a minute to survive this second round. It looks to be all right. Those legs taking him around the ring very swiftly. Rosario not being over-anxious by wading in and making a mistake. Is taking his time, perhaps too much, in going after a second knockdown of Davis. 15 seconds to go in the round now. Rosario has hardly thrown a punch since he knocked him down. Crowd booing that. Davis has had plenty of time to come around from that knockdown as the second round winds down. Howard Davis in trouble, got out of it nicely. Rosario, afraid perhaps of being a little over-anxious, a little impulsive, went the other way, the side of caution in going after him a second time. We said he got him in trouble. Howard Davis trying to recover, took that punching left hand. We talked about the right of Rosario. The left has got a lot of wallop too, as we'll have one more look from another angle. Davis just missed with his right, and the chopping left hand set him down in a hurry. He looks to be all right. Looks rather unconcerned about it all now, as Cornerman has one more look over the eye that caused him a little concern between the first and second round. Crowd chanting Chapo, which is the nickname of the champion Rosario. But Davis still on his feet, did not even use that stool between rounds. And out he comes for round 3. It is scheduled for 12. Remember, Rosario said he expected he would take Howard Davis out in less than 6 rounds. His corner has told him to get busy again, and busy he is in the early seconds of this third round. Davis countered with a good right that time, setting him up with the left. Rosario has so much power, he can catch you with either hand, obviously, at any time. Again, a very game Howard Davis, bouncing off the canvas, ready to mix it with him here in round 3. Davis holding on as they reach the 1-minute mark of this third round. Now go to work on the part of Rosario. Good guard held up high. Davis just evading that left hand again. Then as the right was thrown, he stepped out of the way of it. He realizes he can't stand toe-to-toe with this man. He's got to keep moving. Keep moving constantly, which will be tiring even for a boxer with the speed of Davis. Midway in the third round now. Good! Snapping right hand. Buckled the knees of Rosario. He takes the left. Smiles at Davis now, but no question, the best shot that Davis has unloaded on Rosario so far. Back and forth they go. Two very capable lightweights in search of the WBC World Championship here in San Juan. Davis striking out the left, missing with a following right hand. Another smile on the face of Rosario with a minute to go, and this is the third round. Davis has bounced back extremely well from that second round knockdown, in full command right here, late in round number 3, looking the sharpest he has been since the opening bell. Rosario with 3 jabs gets warded off by a looping left hook from the challenger, Howard Davis. Rosario bullying him over on the ropes, about 30 seconds to go in the round. But the latter half of this round, in particular, a good stretch for Howard Davis. He appears to have taken some of the speed, some of the aggressiveness out of Rosario's attack. His knees just buckled ever so slightly about a minute and 20 seconds ago when he nailed him in the corner. As this third round comes to an end.
And we got it good.
Knocked down in round 2, Howard Davis late in the third round. This snapping right hand buckled the knees of Edwin Rosario. But Rosario and Davis are into round 4, what is shaping up to be a most interesting WBC lightweight championship confrontation. Both obviously have been hurt here. And Davis, in our view, winning that third round, making a fight of it in a big way. There were many here in San Juan who didn't give Davis much of a chance because of Rosario's most impressive showing, especially in his last title defense and winning the title from Jose Luis Ramirez of Mexico. By the way, both men have agreed to take on Ramirez within 90 days and put the championship back on the line. But now, great body punches by the champion Rosario. Howard Davis forced to hang on a minute into this, the fourth round in San Juan. Rosario taking the action to Davis. Back and forth they go. Davis pinned against the ropes, taking tremendous abuse from Rosario. First the body, then to the head. The jab, banging away with the right hand of the body. Flicks the jab out again. Back now, the left hook to the head, the right to the body. Bruising Howard Davis in every legal area. Midway in the fourth round, it's been a good one for Rosario. Davis missing with a combination. Good left thrown by Howard Davis. Caught him flush on the jaw. Rosario keeps coming in. You get the feeling it can't last very much longer either way. Both men getting tremendous knockout opportunity. A little over a minute left in round number 4 now. Davis blinking off the shot from Rosario. Pressing in. Waiting for his chance. Taking his time. Unloads the right. Blocked by the left hand of Rosario. So Howard Davis showing a big, big heart coming off the canvas, hurting Rosario back in the last round, and taking a tremendous shot here again. And he has slowed the aggressiveness of Rosario again as Rosario seems content to stand in the corner just above us. Davis with a good combination. The following right hook had some effect on Rosario. 30 seconds to go in the round. The puffiness around the left eye and below of Rosario, who fires the jab into Davis and drives him onto the ropes.
Come on, let's go.
Again, the upper body speed, the flexibility of Davis simply allows him to lean out of the way of those blows. Round 4 coming to a close in San.
On the next taking it.
Davis's wife, Rosario's wife, left and right. One of their husbands will be the WBC lightweight champion when this day is over, but we have no way of knowing right now. Interesting bout. Both men have been in trouble. Davis was actually on the canvas, but has come back to, we think, win the last couple of rounds. We say that big heart of his showing through more and more as the fight continues. Remember, at 28, Howard Davis, 7 years as a pro, just now getting his second championship opportunity. And he seems unprepared to let that opportunity slip through his hand. But the toughness of Rosario is so evident, as we found out with the knockdown early in this bout in the second round. No question, fighting at home, Rosario is favored to win. Based on what he has done lately, you can't quarrel with that. You have to admire what Howard Davis has accomplished so far in this bout. Rosario may be hard-pressed to fulfill his knockout of Davis prediction inside 6 rounds. It is Davis now with the champion in the corner, finally turning him around.
Bring it up. Step back, step back.
They're coming up to the halfway mark in this round, and we would like to advise our stations at the end of this round, we'll be giving them a local station break. No break for Rosario and Howard Davis in this one. Rosario wants to keep what he's got, and Davis is intent on taking it away from him. Rosario with a jab. Davis partially got out of the way of it. He mixed it up again over on those ropes. A little over a minute left in the 5th round now. Good snapping right hand came out to Davis. He pressed in on Rosario. Body shots by the champion.
Bring it up, bring it up.
Davis holding on. The break made by Mike Jacobs, the referee from London, England. Chopping right hand thrown by Davis effectively. And the jab by Rosario backs him away again. Another jab scores by the champion. Rosario guard held high as Davis bangs away in that corner, tries to hold him there, gets his combinations off, but many of those blows were blocked by Rosario. Rosario content to stand there and just hang on. Both men have thrown an abundance of punches in this round as a grazing blow, a left hand lands, a chopping right hand by Rosario lands. We'll be back with more of the WBC World Lightweight Championship after this word from our local station.
JST.
Round 6 in San Juan. This is the round, remember, Rosario said that would be the upper limit for taking Howard Davis out.
Over the neutral corner.
Now the referee wants to have a look at the glove in the left hand of Rosario. Some moisture on it. Wants to towel off, and now he lets them resume this, the 6th round. The only test, apart from the test of time, for the broken wrist here in the 6th round for Rosario was that very brief appearance against Roberto Elizondo. That just lasted 1 minute and 57 seconds. You get the impression here in this 6th round that Rosario maybe is a little more reluctant to throw the right hand. I wonder if it's bothering or paining him at all. The 14 months since the injury. That happened early in the bout with Ramirez, and he fought on for the better part of 30 minutes with what turned out to be a broken wrist on the right hand. A minute gone in the 6th round as we approach the halfway mark of the scheduled 12-round test for the WBC Lightweight Championship. Howard Davis, after the first couple of rounds, has fought magnificently. Right hook by Rosario missing. Davis continuing to come on. He was backed up in the first couple of rounds. Of course, was knocked down very suddenly by a looping left hand by Rosario in the 2nd round as we reach the midway point of this round 6. As Davis blinked, he did not, nevertheless, take the full force of that right hand by Rosario.
Bring it up, bring it up.
Rosario, who started fairly aggressively, is not fighting that way now. Davis very busy, raining punches all over him. And half of those got through as that left jab just did. The crowd here normally raging with emotion on behalf of Rosario. Very quiet by comparison because Howard Davis is more than making a fight of it. Davis at age 28, the last man of the Olympians to claim a world championship. He looks forward here today. Rosario, very conservative now, certainly, when you compare what he was doing earlier in this bout. He may be going into a bit of a mid-fight lull, but whatever the reason, he's not throwing punches the way he was before, as he uses the left but not the right hand again. A little over 20 seconds to go in the 6th round. Davis has been taking the action to him, much the busier of the two, and obviously the man who should get the scoring here in this 6th round. And the way we see it, take a lead at this stage of the WBC Lightweight Championship bout in San Juan.
Hey, see this? It's the big Ford F-Series pickup, the world's best-selling pickup. It's big, and it's tough, with plenty of engine choices, too. Yeah, big Ford pickup, the heavyweight champ.
Hey, hold it, Larry. Check out the small-size Ford Ranger. Even though it's smaller, it's tough, too. And Ranger is the most powerful small truck. So, Larry, you don't have to be big to be tough.
You are talking about trucks, of course. Big Ford pickup.
Small Ford Ranger. Both built Ford tough.
Howard Davis, out for round 7, has not sat down since this fight started, standing in his corner between rounds and taking charge as the bout goes along. Here in the 7th round, a couple of snapping left hands to Rosario. Rosario in a real shell, whether it was the fact that he is having trouble penetrating the reach advantage of 6 inches that Davis enjoys, whether that wrist has been re-injured, the hand, the right hand is hurting. He simply isn't throwing it the way he was before. It was the wrist that was fractured. Could be a problem in that area. No question, a very conservative Rosario at this stage. We're past the halfway mark of the scheduled 12-rounder. It's pretty obvious that Howard Davis is the man gaining momentum. Good left hand thrown by Davis. Getting to that high guard, getting a little wider as the bout goes along. Those hands held high by Rosario. But he is doing virtually nothing here. It's up to Davis to initiate the action whenever he chooses. Rosario knows there's time left yet. It's just the 7th round. Whether he's conserving strength for later on, we can't tell. He has only gone the 12-round distance once in his career, 10 rounds another time. The others all ended in TKOs or knockouts. And indeed, he did have Davis down here in the 2nd round of this bout. We have a little over a minute to go in round number 7, and what action there has been, as you can see, has been supplied by Howard Davis. Fans whistling now because they're stunned at Rosario's inactivity. He fires a right hand out there finally after almost 2 minutes of this round. But he's not the man we saw fly from his stool in the 1st round to take the action to Davis. He had Davis backing up then. Davis now almost at will, turning Rosario into whatever corner of the ring suits him, and then dictating the pace from there. .30 seconds to go in round 7 of this, the WBC Lightweight Championship from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Don Chevrier with you on ABC's Wide World of Sports. It has been a good one. Good left and a right thrown by Howard Davis. 2 telling blows there late in this round. And you've got to give this round to Howard Davis, too, as has been the case with the previous 4. Davis taking charge against the champion Edwin Rosario right here in his native country, Puerto Rico, in the city of San Juan. Round 7 at an end now. Round number 8 underway. Howard Davis has taken charge in this bout. His corner, trainer Manny Siaka, telling him that you are in charge now. You've got 5 rounds to go. They feel, as we do, that Howard Davis has the lead. Never underestimate the power of Edwin Rosario. He may be a sleeping giant out there. Although not a giant of a man physically, he packs the wallop of one, as 17 verifiable knockout victims can attest. He joined us late. He had Davis down with a snapping left hook in the 2nd round. And in the following round, it was Davis who buckled the knees of Rosario, but failed to put him down. Once again, the pace being dictated by Howard Davis. Rosario attempt to counterpunch his way off the ropes whenever he chooses. Davis, with a lashing left hand, drives him back onto those ropes. So the reach advantage is no question a big one for Howard Davis as the fight continues. He can stand back out of harm's way. Let the 6-inch advantage work for him while Rosario has to find a way to cut inside that. This crowd in San Juan dismayed by what Rosario hasn't done since the first couple of rounds. A very inactive champion in the ring here. In this, his second defense of a title he won 14 months ago. His chance to prove that he is a premier lightweight. And so far, he is not convincing very many people of that in this test today. Just over a minute to go in this, the 8th round. Chapo is the nickname worn around the belt of Rosario, and that's what you hear the crowd chanting in the background as he smiles after the right thrown by Davis that did connect. Whether it is an injured hand possibly or just the reach problem, Rosario shows no sign of coming out of the shell he went into in about the 4th round when Davis began to pull even in the fight. Then in the ensuing rounds, this is round 8. No question, Davis has taken charge. The referee does not vote. The 3 ringside judges from England, Venezuela, and Mexico will decide it if it does go the 12-round distance. Davis with the left. Training with the head at the bell to end the 8th round. They are 2/3 of the way through this WBC lightweight championship. So Rosario is running out of time in which to catch up, I would think, and impress the judges. Earlier, it was all Rosario as Howard Davis, despite his reach, backed up. As he threw the right, missed with it, he got caught with a left hook. That was in round 2, flattened his back. He bounced up quickly, stayed away from Rosario the balance of that round. Then, past the midway mark of round 3, here was a solid right hand that buckled the knees of Rosario, but he did stay on his feet. Another great fight coming up for you. Wide World of Sports will not be on the air because of the USFL playoffs the next 2 weeks. It returns July 14th. Junior middleweights, Wilfred Benitez and Davey Moore. Benitez, 3-time world champion of the past, and Davey Moore, a former champion in this division. It'll be followed by the Firecracker 400, July the 14th. That bout taking place in Monte Carlo. This one in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the 9th round is underway. My scorecard shows that I haven't given a round to Rosario since the 2nd, which would mean Davis does indeed have a commanding lead. But the people to decide that for real are the ringside judges. You can't give points to a man who doesn't show any activity. And Rosario continues to sort of lay back. Let Davis, with a reach advantage and all, back him away to those ropes. I haven't detected that he has been reluctant to use the right hand because he really hasn't been eager to throw either hand the last 5 rounds. No question that Davis has gained confidence as this bout has continued. The awesome champion from Puerto Rico, except for that early knockdown, has been anything but awesome to Howard Davis. And yet Davis must know he can't get too careless or wide open because the power of Rosario is still intact. A minute now into this 9th round. Davis, in his previous title attempt, lost a unanimous decision to Jim Watt in Glasgow, Scotland. So at this stage, getting down to the final few rounds of his 2nd attempt at a championship, he is indeed in much better shape. He has reeled out 13 victories in a row, remember, leading up to this one, but Rosario has not lost in his entire career. The only loss for Rosario for Davis came in that title attempt against Watt in Glasgow in 1980. There's no question that Rosario needs points and needs to pile them up fairly consistently now unless he can catch Davis with a knockout blow. They boxed through about 2 minutes, and this is the 9th round, scheduled for 12 in San Juan, Puerto Rico, on a steamy, humid June afternoon. There's a combination that finally came through by Rosario. Not a devastating right, but one that was a scoring blow nonetheless. Little puffiness below the left eye of Rosario, nothing to be concerned with. There was a mark over the other eye of Davis, the left eye, but now again that sharp combination, the quick hands of Davis scoring in the Rosario corner. About 30 seconds to go in the 9th round. And apart from the odd flurry, as he bangs away to the body, Rosario not doing much in an attempt to catch up as he comes up short again, failing to get inside the reach. And the quick upper body movement and feet of Howard Davis of Long Island, New York. A glancing right from Rosario land. Just missing with a jab as Davis backed away from it. Davis with his left leading him in on the ropes once again as they have gone through the 9th round with time running out on the champion from Puerto Rico, Edwin Rosario. And again, as he has done all day long, in that corner with the 10th round coming up, Howard Davis remains on his feet. Looking very, very fresh. At 28, he's getting very close to a world championship if this continues.
John, when you put pressure on, you got to do something with some uppercuts. Right uppercut will do it. Right uppercut will do it. Come on. This round, got to win every round, John.
It's his father, Howard Davis Sr., trainer, Manny Siaka.
Every round, you understand?
And their advice is pretty sound. Just continue to do what he's been doing. They just put the pressure on Rosario. Rosario, who said he was in the best condition possible, has been sitting between each round. He looks like a tired boxer right now, this WBC lightweight champion. Up he comes for the 10th round, scheduled for 12. He rocked Davis there with a shot to the body, back to near the rope. Rosario now brings the crowd to its feet and makes this crowd come alive for the first time in 8 rounds. Rosario pouring all over Davis in the corner, but Davis very deftly stepping out of trouble. He did take some stinging blows, though. Rosario continues to pour it on, bangs to the body, and fires the left hand up to the head that just missed. Rosario must realize now he needs the knockout to be sure of winning this one because it may be too late to get the points he has to compile. Body shot. Fended off partially by Davis with the guard held up high. The elbows down trying to guard the body, but Rosario having a big 10th round. Bangs away at the body of Davis, and Davis now has some steam taken out of him from all this punishment. The body shot, a half to be telling blows. He's guarding his head, but he's left the body open. He's taken half a dozen or more very sharp blows in the midsection. A new Rosario came off his stool to begin round 10. Not the tired boxer we had seen the previous half dozen rounds. They are just now coming up to the midway mark of the 10th round. Davis had to be surprised by the sudden vigor of Rosario coming at him to start this 10th. As Edwin had done virtually nothing previously. Maybe he was saving it for a big finish. He went into a shell against Ramirez before finally dominating the late rounds against him to take the victory right here in San Juan. He almost left it too long if it's points he's looking for, despite the impressive round he's enjoying right here. Rosario must be arm-weary at this stage, considering the amount he has thrown the first couple of minutes of this round. About 50 seconds remaining in the 10th. Despite the punishment he's taken, the aggressor, despite that right hand by Rosario, is Davis coming right in and catching it flush on the side of the face. So obviously the champion is plenty left as Davis fires the left hook. And missing with the left hand is Howard Davis. Less than 30 seconds to go in the 10th round. The best consistent action of the entire fight. Mostly by Rosario in the first couple. Now Rosario in the closing seconds with a combination that scored right there. So he has won his 10th round in a big, big way. The champion Rosario has. Davis dancing around will try to collect himself and take it to an 11th round, but there's no question catching up right now is the champion Rosario. Davis's father told Howard that Rosario's tiring, and Davis nodded. He said, I know. Howard has to have the lead, as we have suggested to you. It's a matter of survival now in the 11th and 12th rounds. An almost desperate champion from San Juan. No doubt will come after him again. He did so brilliantly in the 10th round. Most impressive victory in any round by either man today. It was scored by Rosario back there. Whichever way it goes, it's been a good one. It almost seemed mirrored on the face of Davis, the intensity of showing how much he wants this championship. Won at Luton 4 years ago over in Scotland. 7 years of his life boxing professionally have brought him to this second chance. He has no guarantee there will be a third if he does not capitalize today as he fires 2 good lefts out. Rosario now more and more the aggressor as Davis is backing up. It was Rosario who laid back on the ropes. Now initiating much of the action here in the 11th round as they tie up. Both men have been stung in the early round. But the process of wearing down has gone both ways. I suspect more in the case of Rosario than Davis, who does look tired. He slipped down there. Comes up smiling. A little embarrassed about it all as we are at the midway point of the 11th round. Not a knockdown. That left again that sends little Rosario backwards. Davis catching him on the way in, although a couple of punches, the right in particular, landed by Rosario. That left of his has to be respected too. He throws it in a real hurry. Now he'll go to work on the body again. That's what slowed Davis down appreciably back in that 10th round. Body shots were very telling. And he goes back to that same strategy now with less than a minute to go on the 11th round. Davis has taken his share of punishment the last 2 rounds. Continues to lead here, we would suspect. Rosario looks for that big punch to take him out. But his prediction of finishing off Davis inside of 6 rounds has long since gone by the boards today. Final 20 seconds of the 11th round. And Rosario, despite his desire and his heart, maybe a little too fatigued to mount a serious rally, but we're going to find out in this 12th and final round coming up. They've given on fairly even terms after a big 10th round for Rosario. Round 11 comes to an end. John Chevrier in San Juan back with you. Some final advice for Davis.
When he comes after you, be all slipping and carrying on like that. Hit him every now and then, though. You can't let him carry nothing. The last 30 seconds of this round, you got to burn this sucker to win this fight. You got this.
And the point well taken from Manny Siaka and his father. There are the 2 wives of the boxers. A very concerned look, especially on the lady on the right, Edwin Rosario's wife.
Away you go.
The point well taken that to beat a champion, especially in his hometown, you've got to take it right to him all the way to the final bell. Even in the final 30 seconds, you must look impressive to convince the judges you were good enough to take this championship away. That's important for Davis to know. And while in the middle to late rounds, he was the dominant man, judges could be swayed by the late flurry, particularly in the 10th round by the champion. He was told to slip those punches, use the upper body to back out of the way of Rosario's thrust. That's what he appears to be doing here in this round. He knows he has to avoid any possibility of a knockout, and yet at the same time, he's got to remain fairly impressive with what he is doing. So a difficult balance has to be found for Howard Davis here in this 12th and final round. The WBC World Lightweight Championship Good combination came through there. Davis has succeeded in silencing, for the most part, this crowd, partisan, in favor of Rosario in this 12th round. But they were hooping and hollering in the 10th when their man was on the attack. Good counter-punching by Rosario there. Davis has to finally cover up after he initiated the action of this series. And now Rosario finishing up beautifully with the uppercut coming through. The chopping left hand. Shoulder to shoulder, as you can see, at the midway point of the 12th and final round. These two men have put on a tremendous show here in search of the title in San Juan. More body shots. And up to the head with the right hand. And Davis with a hook. Then the straight left thrown by Davis. Both men have thrown a great many punches right here in this sequence. Never mind in the 12 rounds they have gone through. But Davis, as we told you, is aware of the fact that he cannot afford to let up. It's got to be a big and impressive finish for him to make sure of the decision. And of the two, Rosario looks to be the more tired of the stage as the referee Jacob separates them again. Less than a minute to go on the bout. Good left thrown by Davis. He's doing what his corner told him, taking it to him all the way, but then right came out and stung him. Now the left and the right. A grazing right, a chopping right, the left hand. It is Rosario now in the final flurry in the last 35 seconds. The crowd here in the Clemente Coliseum on its feet, cheering this one as they will likely take it right down to the bell. It is a brawl of the 12th round. Two hungry boxers, one trying to keep his championship, the other almost desperate to take it away from him. Coming down to the final 10 seconds. This flurry now belongs. Oh, here's the punch. Davis with 10 seconds goes down. He's back up again. Just 3 seconds to go. He was taking the action to him again and got caught once again at the bell. The welt under Davis's eye, the smile from both fighters. But the lightning quick attack of Rosario struck just before the bell. Davis was able to survive it. 2 knockdowns scored by Rosario in this fight of the 2nd and 12th round. Here it is again. Time ticking down. Davis on the attack. Bang! The suddenness of Rosario's power surprised and floored Davis. It was the left hand again. The same punch that took him down in round 2. This has been quite a day and a fight that Rosario made very close in the latter rounds after he'd fallen behind after taking charge early. It'll go to a decision. The 3 ringside judges will decide it. We'll have that decision for you from San Juan after this.
Of Minolta.
As we await the decision here in San Juan, ABC's Wide World of Sports has been brought to you by Visa cards and traveler's checks. Accepted around the corner, around the world. You can do it, and we'd like to help. Visa. By Bud Light. The best is a taste all its own. Satisfying, but never filling. So ask for Bud Light. And by AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound. Rosario's family, 8-month-old baby, Ruby, has joined him in the ring as they await the decision. The judges have a tough decision to make, and it may come down to that 12th round, although we thought that Davis had piled up enough points in the middle round to have a comfortable lead. That is rounds 3 through about 9. A big 10th for Rosario. Might have won that by more than a point. They might have given him the edge in the 11th round, and apart from the knockdown, the 12th round was very even too. But we repeat, when a challenger comes in to face a champion, certainly in his hometown, he had better win very, very convincingly. And Howard Davis was very well aware of that, except he couldn't fend off the left hook that dropped him with just 4 seconds to go in the bout. And that left hook may be the determining factor in the eyes of the judges. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, Davis acquitted himself very well for a man given virtually little chance by many here in San Juan. Man, they said, whose best years as a pro, and he had difficulty adjusting from amateur ranks to professional boxing, might have been behind him. He had racked up 13 wins in a row, and yet there were those who said the 13 really weren't that big. He didn't have the knockout punch. Well, he certainly had enough combinations and enough jabs and hooks to score well. And here's this knockdown of the 12th round that surprised everybody, and certainly nobody more than Howard Davis. He was taking the attack to him. The left hook caught him. Bounced back up again to await this decision. One more look at it. And it happened to him before in the second round as well. Same punch, got up just about as quickly. He then came back in the next round to buckle the knees of Rosario. But Rosario did not appear to be badly hurt after that. He did go into a shell, however. It took him a long time to come out, as it did in his fight with Ramirez here. All right, here's the decision now.
The decision. Split one. La decisión dividida. Los señores jueces la vieron así. José Juan Guerra de México. Chapo 114. Sid Nathan 15. 115 a 114 el Chapo. El juez José Juan Guerra de México la ve 114 a 113.
All right, we'll get this scoring for you here and the decision.
El juez Ángel Custodio Tobar de Venezuela.
Third judge will decide it.
La ve 117-113 Chapo.
So the champion has defended his title in a split decision. 113 to 107, is that right? For the final judge. Another judge gave Davis a 114-113 verdict. And Rosario from the other judge got a 115-114 spread. So the third judge had a 6-point win for Rosario, which is very difficult to understand, having seen this bout this afternoon. He made it close toward the end, but a disappointed Howard Davis, and he has to be tremendously disappointed with the outcome. Certainly not with his performance. Has to walk away from another challenge for a world championship empty-handed. So it looked very close on these judges' cards, apparently, as they went to the final round. And maybe the determining factor was that final blow, I don't know. But one judge on the scoring we have gave Rosario a 6-point margin, while the other judges all had a point either way. One for Rosario and one for Davis. 115-114 for Rosario, 114-113 for Davis, and 117-113. That is correct. And now 117-113, a 4-point margin. The judge who finally decided the outcome here voted in favor of Edwin Rosario. So he keeps his WBC championship, but I'll tell you, he had a long day in doing it and a real workout. Rosario coming out of this ring has to be a very tired champion right now here in San Juan. He took his time in coming around, as we commented, as you saw, but apparently what he did in the later rounds were more than enough, and what he didn't do in the middle rounds weren't penalized by the judges here, two of whom, as we say, had it very, very close. The third made it a 4-point victory for the champion. So Howard Davis looks to be taking it all very well. Looks very calm at this stage. Rosario is with us now, and do we have an interpreter talk with him? All right. Did he think he had to put on a big 2 or 3 final rounds to make sure he won?
Que si tú creíste que tuviste que poner 2 o 3 fuertes asaltos al final para poder ganar. Si tuve que hacerlo, efectivamente. Yeah, he know he had to do it because he was going down, so he had to put a little bit strong on the ending rounds.
Why did he go to sleep in the middle rounds? He wasn't doing very much.
¿Por qué te fuiste a dormir en los asaltos del medio, que no hiciste mucho trabajo? Bueno, creo que Howard Davis me acabó de dar un codazo aquí que, como vemos, lo tengo hinchado y me había permitido utilizar la mano derecha. He says that he got hit. He got elbow in one of his arms, and he dropped his hand because his hand was hurting a lot. So he couldn't work it out too much.
That's what I thought. Was it the wrist that he broke before, or was it the hand?
Que si fue la muñeca, que se te lastimaste la muñeca otra vez. No, la muñeca la tengo perfectamente. Yo podría seguir peleando. He said he got the hand in perfect condition. He could have kept on going fighting if he had to.
All right, congratulations. Champion still, Edwin Rosario and Howard Davis. We can get him to come down to us from the ring apron here. Howard, you've got to be very disappointed. You can just step out of that chair with the outcome today. You must have thought you had this fight won.
Yeah, I thought I had it won. It was a very close fight. But he's a good fighter. Take nothing away from him. In my opinion, I thought I won.
Yeah, the middle rounds, he admitted later that his hand was sore, was bothering him. He wasn't doing very much, and you had to be picking up rounds as you went
I
along.
was pressing action. Neither one of us was doing too much. I didn't want to take any chance. I was trying to wear him down for the later rounds. And I pressed the action almost throughout the whole fight. And in the last round, I thought I had a won, you know, to pull it out. But
I guess maybe psychologically that knockdown with 4 seconds to go might have turned it against you there, because it looked like you threw more punches.
It shouldn't turn it against me. There's only 4 seconds left. But, you know, I'll try again. I'm not giving up.
Well, the way you fought, you shouldn't give up. You showed a lot of heart out there.
Thank you very much.
All right, Howard.
I'll be back.
I'm sure you will. Maybe 3 times will be lucky for you, having missed the first 2 hours.